Secure Guard Security Services, your trusted security provider. Have you ever witnessed a situation where individuals engage in disruptive or unruly behavior that disrupts public order and peace? Prepare yourself as we dive into uncovering more criminal offenses. Did you know that disorderly conduct is a term that encompasses a range of actions that disturb public tranquility, outrage public decency, or breach the peace? And anyone who engages in brawling, fighting, or other behavior that would constitute a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct may be guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree, punishable as provided by the state statute. Moving on, have you heard the word disorderly intoxication? This is closely similar to disorderly conduct. The only difference about this is it occurs when an individual consumes too much alcohol or drugs, as it impairs their judgment, coordination, and self-control, resulting in actions that disturb public order, peace, or the well-being of others. This can also include aggressive behavior, loud and disruptive conduct, verbal abuse, or engaging in dangerous activities while under the influence. A person with 3 convictions or forfeited collateral within 12 months may be deemed a habitual offender and committed to treatment for up to 60 days. Additionally, in some states, instead of imprisonment, law enforcement officers may escort intoxicated individuals to their homes or health facilities, ensuring transportation costs are prepaid. When a person enters a building or structure without permission and has the intent to commit a crime, then he or she is punishable by law as they committed a crime called burglary. Note that there are 3 levels of burglary can happen. First-degree offenses are penalized by a year-long sentence that cannot exceed life in prison. If and only if the criminal uses force against a victim while carrying explosives or a deadly weapon inside the dwelling. Second degree, punishable as provided in by the state law. In the course of committing the offense, the offender does not make an assault or battery and does not become armed with a dangerous weapon or explosive, and the offender enters or remains in a dwelling, and there is another person in the dwelling at the time the offender enters. Third degree, punishable as provided in the state statute. If, in the course of committing the offense, the offender does not make an assault or battery and does not become armed with a dangerous weapon or explosive, and the offender enters or remains in structure, and there is not another person in the structure at the time the offender enters or remains. Now, what happens if a person is trespassing on a property? Unauthorized entry onto another person's property is typically regarded as a misdemeanor. However, the infraction gets more serious if the trespasser refuses to leave, causes damage to property, leaves behind litter, or is in possession of a dangerous weapon. The owner or authorized person can detain the trespasser for a reasonable time until the police arrive without facing legal consequences. Detaining someone under these circumstances does not make the detainer liable for false arrest or false imprisonment. Criminal mischief, which is closely similar to trespassing, refers to any malicious act committed against the victim's property, such as vandalism or graffiti. Any damage to such property that costs $200 or less is considered a second-degree misdemeanor, while it is a first-degree misdemeanor if it is more than $200 but less than $1,000. However, it is a third-degree felony if the damage is $1,000 or more, or if a business operation, public communication, transportation, supply of water, gas or power, or other public service is interrupted or impaired, and it would cost $1,000 or more in labor and supplies to restore the property. Speaking of property, there are some factors that a security guard encounters a person in theft, so you must understand how to handle such situation. But first, what is theft? It entails taking things that belong to someone else, like cash, products, or valuables, and keeping them for oneself illegally. Theft can take many different forms, including shoplifting, pickpocketing, and breaking into someone's house to steal their belongings. In order to convict someone of theft, it is the state's responsibility to prove that the individual knowingly and unlawfully gained possession or attempted to gain the use of the property of a person or entity. Did you know that there are legal terms for theft? Well, let us put it this way. If a roofer installs a new roof, but the roof leaks, the customer might be able to withhold payment until the leak has been fixed. This kind of action is what we call theft of services. This is all because the services provided were not as advertised, or because the services did not meet reasonable standards of quality with its customer. But remember, withholding of payment without reason would be considered as larceny.
Here you have the full-screen video template with a lower thirds label. To change the video background, click Background and replace the video.
Hold your patience as we venture out to the last part of our training on uncovering different types of criminal offenses.